Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the John Campea Show here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an honor and a privilege, as it is every day, to have you guys joining me here today on this Monday, first day of the week. I hope you guys have a great week lined up in front of you. Now, as always, here's how today's show is going to go. I'm going to go over 6 topics that you guys have sent in to me. Here's how you get a topic or question on the John Campea Show. You just email me anytime at john@thejohncampeashow.com. That's john@thejohncampeashow.com. And guys, make sure you put that word topic in the subject line. Put the word topic in the subject line. Otherwise, I'm not going to see your email. And also, guys, of course, as always, keep your emails to 90 words or less. Now, once I get by these first 6 topics, I'm going to go over to you guys who are watching live. If you guys are watching live, I'm going to save some time at the end of the show to take your live questions. Here's how you get a live question into me. You simply tweet to me at John Campea. Just send out a tweet, start it with at John Campea, and I will get through just as many of your live tweets as I can, and maybe you will see your tweet pop up here on the bottom of the screen. So, with all of that out of the way, let's dive into the first topic of this brand new week. And the first topic today comes to us from Tyler SB52, who writes, "Hey John, love the shows, thank you so much, and everything you've done without the corporate overlords. Thank you very much, Tyler. My question is about you saying Shia LaBeouf is in the top 20 actors in Hollywood. What are some examples where you saw him stretch his acting legs per se?" Well, thanks a lot, man. And yeah, I know some people like to give me a lot of grief when I talk about Shia LaBeouf. I mean, because I do say, I believe he is in the top 20, maybe even in the top 15 best actors working today. And, you know, some people say, John, he's crazy. He's all that. Well, yeah, he's got a lot of off-camera issues. Of that, I am not going to disagree with you or argue with you about. But some people, when they think of Shia LaBeouf, too, all they think about are some crappy Transformers movies. Like, he's in the first Transformers, and I really love the first Transformers movies, but they just think of him as being in those crappy ones. But Shia LaBeouf has very quietly, despite all of his outrageousness, gone on to actually show he has got remarkable acting chops, just remarkable acting chops. Now, he's one of the main reasons I'm so excited about that upcoming movie Borg McEnroe, based on the true story of the real-life tennis rivalry. That movie looks amazing, and everything I'm hearing about it is saying he's just fantastic. He was just in a movie about a year or 2 ago called Man Down, in which his performance is phenomenal. And I know a lot of people didn't see it, and maybe that's one of the reasons we still have these questions about, is Shia really that good of an actor? Yes, he's that good of an actor. Go and check that out. But also, he was in that Tank movie with Brad Pitt, and I believe John Bernthal was in that too. And anyway, the movie was called Fury, about the war tank movie. He stole that movie. Shia LaBeouf stole that movie. He outacted everybody else in that movie. Now, I'm not saying he's a better actor than Brad Pitt, but I'm saying in that movie, Shia LaBeouf stole it. He was the best performer in that, and I thought he was just remarkable. As ridiculous as Nymphomaniac Part 1 and Nymphomaniac Part 2 are, Shia LaBeouf was actually really good in that movie as well. Charlie Countryman is another movie that he was just remarkable. And there's a lot of these smaller films that not a lot of people have seen. And so that's why when I say Shia LaBeouf is a remarkable actor, people go, what are you talking about? Because they haven't seen these movies. But it's these movies that a lot of people haven't seen that make me go, this guy's money. And if I was a big producer or whatever, I would have some hesitation about him just because what kind of crazy antics is he going to carry on and get himself in trouble with? But aside from that, from a pure acting talent point of view, if I'm a producer of a big Hollywood movie, I'm putting Shia LaBeouf in my movie in a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. Do I trust him off screen? I'm not sure, but I trust the work he will do on screen. I trust the work he will do on screen completely. So I'm on his side when it comes to that. That's why I like Shia LaBeouf so much. There are some movies that I hope you guys will check out to really see what kind of range this guy really has. He's really a truly gifted actor. I mean, look, even if he is a bit strange. Okay, let's move on to the next question. And the next one today comes to us from Stephen Wang. And Stephen Wang writes, I was wondering, what's the difference between a social media reaction and what a review is? Obviously, social media reactions are shorter, but are there official guidelines that the studio set for critics to follow? Thanks, big fan of the show. And yeah, this is a topic that's come up a few times because a lot of times now, movies, the studios will say, hey guys, there's a review embargo until Tuesday the 10th, for argument's sake, right? But you're free to give your social media reactions now if you want. So all that basically means, obviously, is that you cannot put out your full review yet until Tuesday the 10th. But if you want to hop on Twitter and say, hey guys, I just saw Mammy's Big Butt. I don't know, say there's a movie out called Mammy's Big Butt. Somewhere Anne is giggling because she loves it when I say butt. Anyway, so there's a movie called Mammy's Big Butt, and I just saw it and I really enjoyed it. Watch for my review on Tuesday. Or they'll say, hey, I saw Mammy's Big Butt, you know, despite a really good premise, it didn't quite work for me. Talk more about it in my review, whatever. So quick social media reactions where people can just jump online and give a quick thought. So that's the difference between a main review and just a quick social media reaction. Now, do studios have guidelines for social media reactions? No, studios cannot give film critics guidelines of any kind. The moment a studio can give a film critic any sort of guideline about what they are allowed to say and what they're not allowed to say, that's nonsense. You can't do that. Critics can say whatever they want. The only thing that they ask, obviously, is please don't give away spoilers or major plot points. But they ask that of the reviews too. You know, once again, going back to the discussion we had about yesterday, it's like, John, isn't the reason that Warner Brothers is holding off the Justice League reviews is to hide the spoilers? And I said, no, that's not it. Because if they want, first of all, critics don't give away major spoilers in major plot points and major spoilers in their reviews anyway. Number two, if they were going to give it, they could have given them in their social media reactions. Number three, you've got fan screenings of the movie happening before the review embargo is up, so fans can just blabber their mouths if they want. So all that kind of stuff. But the only thing that studios ask of us people who go in and review movies is like, hey, social media reactions, but you know, if you don't mind, like no major spoilers, no major plot points, which is fine. That's not something we would give away anyway. So those are the major differences. That's why you can have one and not the other. And hopefully that clears that up a little bit. All right, let's move on now to the next topic. And the next topic comes to us from Rene Arrillaga, who writes, love the show. Thank you so much, Rene. Do you think Universal and Illumination Studio will take a good hard look at Louis C.K.'s role in The Secret Life of Pets 2 due to the sexual harassment lawsuit, just as Sony did with Kevin Spacey for All the Money in the World? The first one did $1 billion worldwide. Well, thanks a lot for the question, Renee. Just a quick correction, though. Secret Life of Pets did not make $1 billion worldwide. It made a lot of money. It made like 800. I'm gonna say somewhere in the $860 million range. Those of you guys in the live chat board, look that up for me, will you? And put the actual number. How much worldwide did The Secret Life of Pets actually make? If I'm remembering right, I think it's like $860 million. Can you guys look that up and put that in the chat board for the actual full number? Anyway, so the question is, you know, with all the stuff that's going on now with Louis C.K. and Louis C.K. making the admission, and Daniel in the live chat board is saying 875. Okay, so I was off by 15. 875 million. Didn't quite hit that $1 billion mark. Some people saying a lot. It made a lot. Yes, Secret Life of Pets made a lot of money. So the question, though, is, like, with all the controversy surrounding Louis C.K. right now, will Sony and Illumination take a good hard look at this situation, much like they did with Kevin Spacey? Well, the answer to that is they already did. It actually came out a couple of days ago that Sony has removed Louis C.K. from involvement in Secret Life of Pets 2, which is completely understandable. It's yet another unfortunate thing about this situation because, you know, I don't really care all that much about celebrities doing the voices in animated films, with a few exceptions. But Louis C.K. did a really good job in the first one, and that's just yet another unfortunate thing about this whole situation, why he had to go and screw this up. But yes, to answer your question, they already have taken steps. They have removed him. So when Secret Life of Pets 2 does come out, I believe it comes out in like 2019, I think. I could be wrong about that. You will not hear the voice of Louis C.K. in that they have removed him. But this is a little bit of a different situation than the Kevin Spacey one, because the Kevin Spacey one, they had already made the movie. The movie was done and shot and everything was done, and the trailers on the movie's coming out on December 22nd. That was a little bit of a different situation. This one is a much easier thing. Number one, because it doesn't come out to 2019. But number two, all they need is another guy to come into a sound booth for 2 days and read some lines into a microphone. Real voice actors, it's much more than that. But for these actors, they just come into a voice booth for a couple of days, say some lines, and go home and collect a big paycheck. So it's not going to be nearly as disruptive as, say, the Kevin Spacey situation was. But there you go. All right, let's move on now to the next topic. And the next topic today comes to us from Dovid Prawer, who writes, hey, John, big fan of the show. You rank the 10 best comic book movies of all time. given that there aren't as many great comic book TV shows, could you rank the top 5 comic book TV shows? Thanks, and keep up the great work. Well, I mean, it's hard to say, because when you're talking about TV shows, then you're asking what kind, because there are very many different kinds of comic book TV shows. Like The Flash is totally different from Legion. They're both great, but they're completely different. The other thing is, some shows have fantastic seasons, but maybe overall as a show doesn't quite make it. So here are my 5 favorite comic book shows that I would say are the top. Now, I'm putting these in no particular order, okay? I know you asked me, rank the top. I'm not going to rank them, but I will tell you what my top 5 are, but these are in no order, okay? One of them will obviously be this one, Daredevil. Daredevil, I believe, is the gold standard of comic book TV shows. It just captures everything. It has some of that silly... Look, I tell you this. Any good comic book movie has a little, at least a little dash of that corny goofiness that should be in... Even The Dark Knight had a few dashes of it here and there. And that's good. You need that to kind of flesh it out and balance it out. Daredevil had that. It had the grittiness. It had great visceral kind of violence to it. It had great character development. I mean, it had all the ingredients are there. So Daredevil would be one of them for me. Again, these are in no particular order. Another one for me would be Heroes. Now, overall as a show, I probably wouldn't put Heroes up there, but the fact of the matter is, for me, Heroes Season 1, I still believe for me, is not just amongst comic book shows, but Heroes Season 1 to me is my single favorite single season of television ever. I don't think I've ever had a single season of television that I liked more than Heroes Season 1. It kind of went off a cliff after that, yes, but that Heroes Season 1, but because of how good that first season was, I'm going to put that in my top 5. Another one I'm going to put in my top 5 is Legion, which is really funny because I hated the first episode of Legion. Hated it. As a matter of fact, me and Ann sat down to watch it, and we both watching. We're looking at each other through. This is stupid. This is just trippy for the sake of being trippy. And I know a lot of people love trippy, but this is just trippy. I don't like violence just for the sake of violence. Is violence driving ahead of your narrative? And I felt the first episode of Legion, this is just trippy for the sake of being trippy, and weird just for the sake of being weird. So there's no purpose. This is dumb. And I abandoned the show. And then 3 months later, enough people badgered me saying, John, you really got to give Legion another shot. Give it another shot. And finally I went, okay, fine, I give it another shot. And I watched episode 2, and then 3, and then 4, and I binged the rest of the season in one day. Loved it. Absolutely loved it from them, which is kind of weird. Actually, maybe it made me appreciate the show even more because of the fact that I didn't like the first episode. It really got me going, because one of my favorite TV shows of all time is Spartacus. And the first 2 or 3 episodes, some of the worst television ever produced in history. But I kept with it because a friend of mine was one of the stars in the film, or was one of the stars of the show, so I kept with it. And then it turned into one of my favorite shows ever. Legion, for that reason, is on my top 5 list. So what did I say so far? I've got Daredevil. I've got Heroes. I've got Legion. I'm going to go The Flash. The Flash has stumbled a bit this season. I feel like the last episode or 2, they've been finding their footing again. But Flash has stumbled a little bit this last season. But overall, seasons 1, 2, and 3, I really enjoyed Flash on a really consistent basis. So for that reason, I'm going to say, I'm going to say Flash on that one. What would be my number 5? What would be my number 5? You know what? It might be too early to do this. It might be too early to do this because they're only 5 episodes in. I am really digging The Gifted. I know not a lot of people are as big on this show as I am, but for whatever reason, I can't really explain why. That's the subjective nature of it. But I'm watching The Gifted, and I thought it was a bad idea. I wasn't impressed at Comic-Con when I saw all the preview stuff. I'm like, nah, throwaway show. But I've been watching it, and it's I am consistently impressed. And they find that really nice line balance. Remember I said, you got Legion and you got The Flash, 2 totally different shows. The Gifted kind of falls somewhere right in between Legion and The Flash for me. And I find it striking that balance very nicely. It's very much its own show, but just enough of those little references to the larger universe, like referencing the X-Men or whatever here and there. And it's developing really nicely. So maybe I put that as my number 5. I'm not sure. I'm sure a bunch of you guys are going to put in a bunch of shows that I'm going to go, oh, wait a minute. Why didn't I think of that? Some people, Young Justice, no. Young Justice. Luke Cage, no. Half the season was bad. Defenders was good. Gotham is hit or miss. So I'm not willing to put Gotham. I am enjoying the show right now. Right now I'm enjoying Gotham this season. But it's not on there for me. Smallville is really good. I'm because of the weaker stuff later on, I'm not so sure. But look, like some great discussion here. Punter, a lot of people bring up, oh, thank you, Mubi Henry. That's the one I wanted to put in number 5. Thank you, Mubi Henry, for reminding me. My number 5 is the new Amazon show, The Tick. Loved it. Loved it. Is it quite as good as the comic book? No, not quite as good. Is it quite as good as the animated show? Maybe not quite. But I actually think it's better than the previous Fox version of it. I loved it. I loved season 1 of The Tick. Absolutely adored it. So yeah, those would be my top 5. Thank you for reminding me about that. So for me, in no particular order, it's Daredevil, it's Legion, it's Heroes, it's The Flash, and it's The Tick. Those are my 5 favorites. A number of other good ones. Like I said, I'm enjoying Gotham right now. Green Arrow is starting to find its footing again, so that's all good, but those would be my 5. Thanks a lot for asking, and thank you guys for reminding me of The Tick, that I love that one. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Okay, let's move on now to the next question. And the next question today comes, speaking of The Tick, the next question today comes from Arthur H., who writes, "Hey John, greetings from Belgium." Well, greetings, thank you for writing in. Big fan. It has been a while since we've heard any news about the next Mad Max movie or a separate Furiosa movie. George Miller wants to make it. Tom Hardy wants to come back. Charlize Theron would love to do a prequel too. So why is it taking so long? Thanks for taking my question and keep up the good work. Well, thank you so much, Arthur. And you know, let's address a couple things here. This question raises a couple of really interesting issues. Let's go to the first part of the question. Why haven't we seen more movement on a Mad Max sequel or a Furiosa sequel or a Furiosa prequel? We heard him talking about it. We heard the director talking about it. We've heard the cast talking about it. Like, George Miller is quite vocal about it. Why hasn't it happened? Everybody loved Mad Max Fury Road. I really liked Mad Max Fury Road. I wasn't as hyper on it as most people, but I enjoyed it. It's a good film. I gave it a thumbs up. I give it a recommendation. I liked it very much. But here's the bottom line, and this is really hard. This is kind of like a Blade Runner 2049 situation. Really good movie, solid response, but people did not go out to see it the way they expected it to. How much money do you think Mad Max Fury Road made? Made $378 million worldwide. Now, for a lot of movies, that's great. $378 million is great for a lot of movies, not for a movie that had a $150 million budget. Because at a $150 million budget, you're looking at close to the 400, maybe somewhere between the 375 and the $400 million range just to break even. Mad Max Fury Road did not do much business for them. It may have even lost them a couple of bucks. And if they made any money, it was marginal. So from a business point of view, the studio wasn't gangbusters to rush. And I guarantee you, had Mad Max Fury Road made $600 million, we'd be a few weeks away from the release of the next Mad Max movie. I guarantee you that. They would have jumped on that, because then you're talking about a couple $100 million in profit. They would have jumped all over that. Fact of the matter is, the movie struggled to even break even from a business point of view. No matter how good the movie is, it struggled to even break even on that level. And these movie studios, this is a business. They're in this thing to try to make money, not to lose money. And so there's been a lot of hesitation on that. Now, there have been some whispers, there have been some whispers too that, you know, Warner Brothers may have another job for George Miller. There's been some whispers that George Miller is going to direct a DCEU film, which, come on, how cool would that be? Like, could you imagine if in the same year we find out Martin Scorsese is shepherding and producing a standalone Joker movie and George Miller is directing a DCEU film? How cool would that be? That would be pretty incredible. Haven't heard anything official about that yet, so that's one thing. But the other interesting thing about this, that issue that this question raises, is when you say, hey, George Miller wants to do it, and Tom Hardy wants to do it, and Charlize Theron wants to do it, so why isn't it happening? Film fans really overestimate the amount of influence directors and actors have. We really do. It doesn't matter if Tom Hardy wants to do it. That means nothing to an executive at the studio. It doesn't matter that Charlize Theron wants to do it. That means nothing to the studio executives whatsoever. They don't care if the actor wants to do it or not. They really don't care. I mean, do they care a little bit? I'm sure, but it has nowhere near as much influence over their decision-making process as the bottom line does, as the finances of it does. And of course an actor wants to do it because that means a big paycheck. So of course an actor wants to do it. Of course an actor wants to be in a big franchise and wants those films. Of course they do. But I think we as fans, and even me, who am kind of a quote-unquote, very loosely losing this term, professional in this business, even I overestimate their influence sometimes. And the average film fan does too. So just because, that's why when there's a story out there, John, did you hear Tom Hardy say he wants to be in a Star Wars movie? Why aren't you talking about that? Because of course every actor on the planet wants to be in a Star Wars movie. Even the ones that say they don't want to be in it, they want to be in it. So of course, because this is their job, this is paychecks, this is work. Of course they want to be in it. That's why I usually don't talk about those stories. But anyway, that's just me. All right, guys, going on now to the final emailed in topic of the day, and then I'm going to have my short commercial break, and then I'm going to go to your live questions. So start getting your live questions ready if you guys are watching live. And the final emailed in topic today comes to us from Hokage, who writes, "Hey, John, a fan from India here. I noticed that on social media, there's lots of support for Black Panther in the sense that he's a black superhero and there's still a few months before it comes out, while Ray Fisher is already playing Cyborg, which comes out in just a few days, and no one seems to talk about him in that way. Is that fair?" Great. Look, seriously, it's a great topic that you bring up. First of all, I think it's amazing that after having 25 superhero movies in a row that are white men, which, hey, I love white men. White men are awesome. But after seeing 25 superhero movies in a row that is just white men, it is kind of nice to finally seeing Wonder Woman take off. And it's kind of nice seeing that we're going to see Black Panther, and now we've got Cyborg in this movie, and it's nice to see it mixing it up a little bit, okay? It's just nice to see that. So, and obviously, for very good reason, because this is kind of breaking new ground, although Black Dynamite, Michael Jai White, tweet me. Like, Black Dynamite, I could talk Black Dynamite all day. If you haven't seen Black Dynamite, treat yourself. It's comedy gold. Anyway, why do I float off topic like that? Like, I have the attention of a 5-year-old child. Serious topic, serious topic. Ooh, shiny. Anyway, so the question is coming up is like, well, like so much is being made about Black Panther. Why not Cyborg? Why aren't we getting that same kind of buzz and anticipation? And even from a social point of view, the fact that we're getting Black Panther in Justice League before, we're getting Cyborg in Justice League before the Black Panther movie comes out. Why isn't there, even from a social point of view, isn't there more discussion about that? I think there are a couple of reasons for that. Number one, the first reason to me is that, and this is not a Marvel and DC issue. This is not, well, Black Panther's Marvel and Cyborg's DC, and that's why Black Panther's getting more buzz. I don't think that's it at all. I think there's a couple of legit reasons here. Legit reason number one is that Black Panther had an incredible debut in Captain America Civil War, which was in and of itself an amazingly received film by both audiences and critics and big success at the box office and yada, yada, yada. He had a significant role, a big significant role in Captain America Civil War. He basically took the Spider-Man role in the comic book version of Civil War, I should say. So Black Panther appeared in Civil War, he played a major role in it, and he was super well received. People loved Black Panther in Civil War. So that all stokes the fires for the upcoming Black Panther movie. On top of that, the trailers for Black Panther. Especially this last one. I just love the trailers for Black Panther. Anyway, Cyborg, on the other hand, only had a momentary appearance in Batman vs. Superman. And I think you will agree with me that this is fair to say, because, you know, I like Batman vs. Superman. Even most of the people I know who loved Batman vs. Superman, most of the people I know who absolutely loved Batman vs. Superman, if you want to bring up a topic to them and say, okay, you love Batman vs. Superman, what's something about it you didn't like? Usually the first thing that comes to their mind, oh, that Cyborg introduction. That Cyborg introduction was terrible. It was terrible. And like I said, I think it's fair to say that because I think even most diehard Batman vs. Superman fans will be the first ones to say that. Great movie, and every great movie has a weak point. And a lot of people, when you ask them, point to the weak point about Batman versus Superman, that one, or I should point this way. His introduction had nothing to do with Ray Fisher. And I've been excited about Ray Fisher ever since they announced him, because this guy, although I haven't seen movies with him in it, This guy, though, he's being plucked off of Broadway. Okay? This guy is a Broadway caliber actor. And that's why I got all excited when I found, okay, so this dude, Ray Fisher, I'd never even heard of, but Broadway dude? You're going to bring that dude with that kind of skill set and bring him to the big screen of DC comic book movie? Hell yes, this is going to be great. So I'm sure, I have all the confidence in the world that Ray Fisher is going to give us a great Cyborg in Justice League. I'm looking forward to it. But really, it just is that simple when it comes to why is Black Panther getting all the attention and not Cyborg, even from a sociological point of view, with us finally getting the emergence of some really great black superheroes. And obviously on Netflix, we got Luke Cage, and we got more on the way. And Nick Fury, obviously. So why is that? It's really simple. We've had a significant introduction to Black Panther already in a very successful movie that wasn't divisive. He played a major role in it, and he was very well received, versus Cyborg only had a minor appearance in one film, very small, and even the fans of that movie didn't really like the way they set that up necessarily. So I think that's why. Now, this whole narrative could completely change after Justice League comes out. After Justice League comes out, the whole narrative could be, look how great Cyborg is. But, you know, once we actually have a fair chance to see Cyborg on screen and get a feel about does he work or does he not? And once that happens, could totally change the narrative. Thank you so much for the question. All right, guys, I'm going to get you guys now who are watching live to fire up those live questions you want to set in. Now, just before I get to those, though, it's time for my daily commercial break. This is my daily shameless plug where I plug my Patreon campaign, which is, of course, the only reason I'm able to do these shows in the first place. So here, check this out. For those of you who have followed me for any period of time, you guys know that I made the decision recently to leave the corporate overlords. I no longer wanted to work for corporations. I wanted to be an independent content creator. And the only way I've been able to do that is by the support of my Patreon supporters. So what I would like to do is to ask you guys who watch my shows, who spend any amount of time with me every single month, to consider going over to www.patreon.com/John Campea. There you'll get all the information about what exactly does it mean to be a Patreon supporter of mine? What does being a Patreon supporter do for helping to make sure that shows like this one and all the other shows I do here on my channel can actually be produced? And on top of that, what benefits are there to being a Patreon supporter? And maybe if you guys can check that out, if you decide you want to be one of my Patreon supporters, that would be awesome. And if you don't, that's perfectly fine too. I'm just happy that you guys have decided to be here today and be a fellow movie fan and join us in the conversation. So go and check out the website, see if you want to become a Patreon supporter. And now, let's get back. All right, guys, thanks for checking that out. And to all of those of you guys who are already Patreon supporters, thank you so much. I can't do this without you. Really appreciate all that you do. All right, with that now out of the way, I'm going to pop open my Twitter stream. Remember, I have nobody here who's able to vet these for me, so I just need to go through them and see how they go. And we're going to start off today's live segment. Taking these tweets are from those of you guys who are watching this live right now. This one comes to us from the Primal King, who writes, John, are you going to do a review of Star Wars Battlefront 2's campaign? Yes, absolutely. Look, it's no secret, I was not a fan of the first Star Wars Battlefront. I was so looking forward to that game. I felt it fell really short, but I'm hearing some wonderful things. It sounds like a lot of the complaints that people like me had, they've addressed. There's still some of them there, but they've addressed. I'm excited about the campaign. I'm going to get it first day when I'm not watching, you know, Punisher on TV. I'll probably be on here, and I'm going to play it on my PC. I'm more of a PC gamer than I am a console gamer. So I'm going to do it, and I will definitely do a review of it. After I've played it for 2 or 3 days, then I'll get on here and I'll do a review, but I am looking forward to it a lot. All right, this next one comes to us from Keegan J. Jackson, who writes, John, what do you think about Universal changing their monster universe to a comedy horror with Simon Pegg and Taika Waititi? # movie dreams. Well, that's not really changing the monster universe. That's just scrapping the monster universe and going in and doing something different. And I think that's ultimately what they're going to be doing. They're going to be scrapping their monster universe. That hasn't been said officially, but I think we all see it coming since they canceled Bride of Frankenstein. That thing's on hiatus. This thing did not look, and this was a class. This whole Universal Monsters thing was a masterclass in how not to develop a shared universe. They just got way too far ahead of themselves. And I didn't hate The Mummy. I actually thought there was a lot of garbage in The Mummy, but I thought there was also enough good stuff that I mildly enjoyed it. But it was not the kickoff film that you needed. And they got way too far ahead of themselves, and they just botched this thing terribly. And we'll see where they go. But what you're suggesting isn't really a change. It's scrapping everything and then just trying something totally new. And let's see what they come up with. Okay, let's try this. Next one comes to us from Baller Lynch, who writes, John, what hero are you most excited for in Justice League? For me, it's Ezra Miller's Flash. I'm super excited about Ezra Miller's Flash. I've been saying for a long time, I think he's going to be a really good Flash. I've loved the Flash in all the marketing I've seen. So that's great too. Obviously, the Batfleck. Ben Affleck is the best Batman we've ever had on screen. I love Ben Affleck. I'm looking forward to seeing him as Batman again. But I'll be honest with you, the one I'm probably most excited about seeing is Jason Momoa as Aquaman. That's the one I'm really looking forward to seeing. Because, I mean, for a couple of reasons. One, I think he's going to be amazing. I have a lot of respect for Jason Momoa. But on top of all that, it's a character that could go either way, right? Like, because Aquaman is a character that could come off as completely stupid, right? He has that potential, but he has a lot of upside potential too. So I'm really excited to see how they use him, how Jason Momoa comes across. And obviously, I think the best is Ben Affleck as Batman, yes, but the one I'm really stoked to see, and J.K. Simmons as Gordon, even though he's only in it for a tiny part of the movie. But yeah, Momoa's Aquaman, that's the one that's got my blood flowing. Plus, it's really good that that's the next movie coming out in the DCU is Aquaman. So I'm really curious to see how he comes off in this. Okay, let's try this one. Abdullah JR00 writes, John, do you think that there's a possibility to see an Aquaman teaser when Justice League comes out, or at least this year? I don't think so. I don't think they're ready for that yet. I think they're going to hold off on that for a little bit, so I wouldn't expect that. I could be wrong. You never know, but if I had to guess off the top of my head, I would probably say no. The next one comes to us from A99 Barnsey, who writes, John, should Geoff Johns take some heat for the ongoing weaknesses of the plot in the DCEU movies? Well, I mean, remember, Geoff Johns didn't really... Look, everybody knows, I did not think Geoff Johns, he's not a movie guy. So putting him in charge of movies, I think, is a questionable decision. But let's be fair. Let's be fair here. He hasn't been on board for any of the films that we've really seen yet, other than Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman worked great. So let's, instead of talking about blame for weaknesses of story, yes, we're hearing on Twitter that there's some weaknesses of story, but we haven't seen the film yet. So let's take a breath on that one. Let's see the movie, and then let's maybe have some discussions. Look, if Justice League completely craps the bed, does Geoff Johns need to take some heat for that? Yes, he does. Because he's, one of these high power charge guys. Yes. If it's super magnificent, does he need to take some credit for that? Absolutely he does. But let's see the movie first. Like I said, the vast majority of us haven't seen the film yet. Let's take a breath on that question. Let's put a pin in that question, come back to it later once we've had a chance to see it. Let's see. Next one comes to us from Crispy Krangler's writing, John, has the review embargo for Justice League changed, or is it still on Wednesday morning? Well, it's still kind of on Wednesday morning. They changed it to, instead of Wednesday morning, to Tuesday at 11:50 p.m. So essentially it's still Wednesday morning, but as of right now, that's when the official embargo lifts. I still hold out hope that any minute now, I'm going to get an email from the people I know over at Warner Brothers, the PR people at Warner Brothers saying, hey guys, we've lifted the review embargo for Justice League. Go ahead and post your reviews. I'm still holding out hope that that happens. Let's see. Check this out. RACX1 writes, John, there's a rumor on Reddit saying that Warner Brothers are developing a Fantastic Beasts and Harry Potter crossover. I never take anything on Reddit. Never believe anything on Reddit. Unless something on Reddit is pointing you towards something else. That's totally different. Reddit is very valuable that way. But anybody can jump on Reddit and say anything, and then for some whatever reason it starts to float around. All right, next one comes to us from No Me It's Asada writes, John, there was news of a Maleficent 2. Where's the sequel? Yeah, they just thought better of it, I guess. Like, Maleficent wasn't that good. Angelina Jolie was fantastic in that movie. But the movie itself was weak. It really was weak. And they just realized, you know what? Instead of going back to Maleficent, we've got all these other great properties we could do. We could do Jungle Book, and we can work on Lion King, and we can do Mulan, and we can do all these other things. I think that's what happened. And who knows, it's still possible they do another one. But with all these other good projects they have in the works right now, I just don't see why they would. All right, let's see. Going on to Heston Roberts. John, what is your most anticipated superhero film of 2018? Oh, well, it's Avengers Infinity War, for sure. That's the #1 most anticipated one for 2018, no doubt about that. Let's see, next one. John, what are you most excited for in The Last Jedi? Luke Skywalker, man. I've been waiting for Luke Skywalker for a long, long time. Let's go to this one. Fine Foul writes, John, I would love to see a Momoa and Scarlett Johansson in a movie version of Dark Disciple. Thoughts? Yeah, sure. But like, again, Would you like to see actor A and B in movie X? Sure, if they're good actors. I believe Jason Momoa is a good actor. I believe Scarlett Johansson is a good actor. Story has some promise. So it's not the first thing I would do, but if I was just a fan and heard it was happening, I'd be interested, sure. Let's see. Our Shill Potter writes, John, why do Studio Ghibli anime movies not popular worldwide? I mean, they produce one of the best animated films. Well, I think it's because stylistically, it's not something that appeals to a lot of people. And not all their films are giant masterpieces. A lot of them are, though. A lot of them are really, really good. But the style, I think, turns a lot of people off. And you know what? There's no right and wrong for an audience person. The audience is right. I mean, that's what it comes down to. The audience is right. And if the audience decides that's not a style that appeals to me and they don't want to go, that's why. And the style is part of what makes their movie so special and so memorable. But at the same time, the trade-off for that is not everybody's into that style of storytelling, that style of visual animation, and so they don't go out to it in droves. And I think that's the trade-off we're going to get. You're never going to see one of their films be a huge, big blockbuster, and that's okay. As long as they make some money, and as long as they keep being high quality, that's all that really matters. Let's see here. This one comes to us from Sind Retisicola 1, who writes, John, have you heard anything about John Williams scoring episode 9, or will he retire after The Last Jedi? Nope. And you know what? I was just at the John Williams concert not long ago here at the Hollywood Bowl in Hollywood, and he talked about episode 8, but he didn't mention anything about episode 9. And I think the dude's in his 90s now. It's like, you know what? I want John Williams scoring these movies forever, but at the same time, I'm like, John, you have done your duty. Mr. Williams, you have given more to the movie world than 99.999% of movie professionals in history. You have contributed more to us as fans than anybody else. You take a break. Go travel the world. Spend time reading books. Don't worry about making us any more music. You've done your duty. And thank you for what you've done. I kind of hope he doesn't work anymore. I just want... of course, look, I'm going to be thrilled if they announce that he's going to score episode 9. Absolutely. But part of me just thinks, dude... don't work anymore. Just don't work anymore. Go live, do crazy things in the Netherlands. Go to Dubai. Go gambling in Vegas. Do whatever you want to do. Don't worry about working anymore, man. You've already given us enough. You've given us enough. Thank you for everything you've given us. But man, take some time for yourself, dude. Let's see. Next one comes to us about... FAFS LaJoy writes, John, when will we hear news about a Justice League Dark? Hopefully never. I don't think it's a good idea. Quite frankly, I don't think it's a good idea, so hopefully never. Next one comes to us from Annie Gupta 1999 writes, John, what do you predict for Justice League's opening weekend? I'm gonna... Yeah, I guess we're at that point in time now that I actually need to make my final prediction. I am going to predict 135 million. I'm going to predict 135 million. Which would be bigger than Thor. It would be bigger than Spider-Man Homecoming. I believe I'm going to go for 135. I'm going to set the over and under at 135. Tell me, what do you guys think in the live chat board? Justice League. I'm setting the line at $135 million opening weekend domestically. Are you taking the over on that? Or are you going to take the under on that? I want to see what you guys think. Some guys are already 140. Somebody's 285 billion. So yeah, some people 118 million. Yeah, just say over under. This is going to be a good discussion. I can't wait to see what it turns out to be. All right, guys, I got time for just a couple of more here. Let's see. This one comes to us from Rdrago66. John, do Josh Trank / Neil Blomkamp / Colin Trevorrow have futures in Hollywood, or did Fantastic Four / Chappie / Book of Henry end it all? Well, you know what's funny? Josh Trank is working on a movie with, who of course directed Fantastic Four, but there's a huge, you cannot put Fantastic Four on Josh Trank. There's just way too much. The drama behind that with him and the studio and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just ignore that. But he is supposed to be working on a movie with Tom Hardy right now. So let's see how that turns out. As far as Neil Blomkamp, with Neil Blomkamp, it wasn't just Chappie, it was also Elysium, which was a huge disappointment. So, but we'll see. I think he'll be back. I do think Neil Blomkamp will be back, and we'll get to see what he does. Colin Trevorrow as well. He's put out too much big, successful stuff. One movie is not going to derail that. It's just not. So, Colin Trevorrow will be back. So, I think there is a future for all three of them. I really do. It all depending on what they do with their next opportunity. Like, if Josh Trank does get this opportunity, this Tom Hardy thing comes to fruition, What does he do with that opportunity? When Neil Blomkamp does get another shot at a wide release film, what does he do with that opportunity? Same with Colin Trevorrow. A lot will depend on what they do with their next opportunities. Let's see. Oh, sorry about that. I started reading a tweet. I never do that. 12 Samba writes, John, congratulations on increase in live viewing audience. Yeah, like, seriously, we've doubled. The number of you guys watching live has literally doubled in the last month or two. So, I mean, I'm amazed. I am always so shocked that you guys would take time out of your day to spend with me and spend with the rest of the people here talking about this. I think that's just awesome. I'm so glad you guys are here. Let's see. Final question I'll take today. John, what is your favorite anime? This comes from Elijah. My favorite anime of all time is easily, and it's a TV series, but is Space Battleship Yamato, also known as Star Blazers. To me, I loved that show. I used to run home from school every day so I could watch it, and it's just amazing. And I've been wanting a North American version, like live action version. Now, I believe there was a Japanese live action version that came out a number of years ago. Honestly, it wasn't that good. And there's been whispers and rumors and on again, off agains for so long about a North American version of Star Blazers, aka Space Battleship Yamato. And the premise of the story is amazing, and it's just all great space naval warfare, and it's incredible. I love it. But that is my personal all-time favorite. All right, guys, that will do it for me for this installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you guys so much for joining me here today. That actually really means a lot. Do me a favor, guys. If you like these videos, click that thumbs up button, leave a comment. Remember, be civil to each other. The best thing about being film fans is that we get to argue and have disagreements and debates. That's great. But remember, when we're having these arguments and disagreements and debates, we don't want to discourage each other from participating. We want to encourage each other in participating. And that comes with treating each other with respect. Say, you're crazy, you're nuts. Yeah, that's fine too. But let's leave the name-calling stuff for other chat boards and websites. Not here. Let's treat each other civilly because we're all film fans together. Also, guys, make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you've not subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, I cannot believe it. We're closing in on 100,000 subscribers. I thought minimum, it would take me 2 years, starting in June, to get to 100,000 subscribers. And we are almost there. We're just about 3,500 subscribers away. So hopefully, you know, maybe by the end of January or February, we'll actually cross that 100,000 subscriber mark. That would be amazing. Far more than I ever thought we would be at. So thank you guys for all your support. Okay, guys, that will do it for me. Thanks so much for joining me. My name is John Campea, and until next time, bye-bye.